You're listening to the Storied Coaching Podcast with Aaron J. Jacobs, episode number 102. This week, I'm sharing my favorite tools that will help you dial in your nutrition and help you build the body that you want. Forward.
What if you could rewrite your current story? How would you spend your time? What would your career or business look like? What kind of life would you design? Welcome to Storied Coaching, the podcast for high-performing leaders that provides you with tools and insights for building a thriving business that fuels an amazing life on your terms. I'm Aaron J. Jacobs, and as a master coach and the CEO of OMH Creative and Storied Coaching, I've had the privilege and opportunity to learn what it takes to rewrite your story. It's never too late for a rewrite.
Welcome to the podcast this week, my friends, heroes, fellow heroes on this journey. This week, I want to talk about something that is adjacent to what we do. So we do hormone optimization, high performance coaching at Olympus Men. I've talked about this for several episodes now. Most of you that listen know this is what we do. This is what we concentrate on. But hormone optimization is not why people come to us. They don't come to us and go, I got this lab work done, or I got the lab work done with you, and I see all these charts and graphs and numbers, and I just want them to be more in the, if they're in the yellow or the red, I want them to be more in the green because that just makes me feel better about life. We don't care about the score. We care about that we want to feel different. We want a different result from where we are right now to how we want to feel as soon as possible in the near future and forever if possible. That's why men come to us. They want more energy, less brain fog, a better libido, firmer erections, and let's be honest, they want to look better naked in a lot of cases. Middle age sneaks up on a lot of us. We have priorities with family and jobs, and we put ourselves last, a lot of us men, for a while. And we end up getting a gut. We end up not having as much muscle as we used to. Metabolism slows down, all kinds of stuff like that that happens with middle age unless you stay on top of it. And so a lot of us want to turn back the clock as far as that's concerned. We want to be able to walk by the mirror and go, yeah, I feel good about that. I have put in the work. I look great. I feel great. I feel attractive to my wife. I feel attractive to my partner. I feel like the dad I want to be that's at the pool with their shirt off, tossing the kids around the pool. A lot of us guys want that. Whether we want to say it out loud or not, that's why we pursue fine-tuning our health, getting on top of our hormones, testosterone optimization therapy, which helps with a lot of that, because it helps with all of that. It helps with anxiety and depression as well. It helps with the libido issues, with having more energy, and it increases your metabolism, and it's better for muscle retention and is a huge benefit. All of these things are a huge benefit for men. Those are the results that we're after, right? And so what I have found is that as I have opened this side of the coaching and opened the clinic, and we're having men come in, as they're talking with me, they're talking about their symptoms, but very soon we get to what do you want your new result to be? And so many times when I'm on these calls, I'm talking with men and they're reticent to say it at first, but what they want is they do want to live in a body that they feel more comfortable with. They want to get better results from the gym. They've already tried some different things for their eating and nutrition. They've tried some different things for working out. And it's not like they were in high school or like they were in college for a lot of us guys, where we could eat whatever we wanted and we could out-exercise the nutrition. It's just not something you can do in middle age. And even though I am not I have lots of coach friends who have specialized in nutrition, and they've gone to school for years for this. And they are the people that I go to. And those are the people that I refer people to put together custom plans for our people that come to us to help them with their exercise routines, their nutrition plans, all this kind of stuff. So I want to separate myself out from there. I'm not saying that I am one of those coaches. I love those coaches, and I'm so glad they exist. And there are some that are very specifically amazing at your nutrition and your exercise. They have lots of schooling on it, and they're fantastic at it. I'm going to be talking to you today from the unique perspective of someone who is talking to a lot of men, high performers that want to feel better, want to look better naked, want to feel great with their shirt off, want to feel like the best version of themselves, want to have that energy, that libido, all of that stuff. And they come to me and they specifically want to know, especially after the last 3 or 4 years, what am I specifically doing? Because they've seen the body transformation that I've had. They've seen the picture of me on vacation on the beach, looking like not my favorite version of myself body-wise. That person that was feeling really run down, that was over drinking way too much, was not taking their nutrition seriously, was exercising actually quite a bit, but not getting results. And so I would have these spurts of starting and working really hard, working my ass off. But I would 2, 3, 4 months in, I would not be seeing any significant results. And it was a lot of times because of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to talk about the learnings that I've had since getting on testosterone optimization therapy for myself almost 5 years ago now. And the changes, because that glass ceiling, for lack of a better term, was removed from me. My hormones, my metabolism were no longer fighting me. I was optimized. And so it was all of a sudden way easier for me that if I did eat well and I did exercise regularly, just the same as I was, not killing myself, in some cases even doing less, that I was able to get to the point of a body that I really like living in. It's my favorite version of myself that I've had so far. I am in my late 40s at this point. I'm 47, and I feel like I'm living my best life, energy-wise, mental game-wise, and specifically physically wise. And guys, we can talk about body acceptance all day long, but everybody fucking knows in their heart of hearts, guys, that you would feel a lot better if you were carrying around less of that weight. If you had more energy, if you liked taking your shirt off at the pool, you would like that version of yourself. And I realize that there's a huge movement out there for body acceptance and all that kind of stuff and all kinds of different shapes and sizes. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but I'm also saying that it's bullshit if you're telling me that you wouldn't rather, if you had a choice between your optimized body and the way that you felt and feeling good about yourself, and that you could play with your kids and you could feel very attractive to your partner, that you could feel like your muscles and your metabolism and everything is just clicking along, that you, if you were able to wave a magic wand, that you wouldn't pick that version. Because I call BS if you say that you would. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, for the guys that want that result, that are looking to optimize hormones and also to get a specific result, that they want to live in a body that they feel better in, I'm going to share the personal tools that I use currently after trying lots of different stuff that I use on a daily basis to make my life as easy and repeatable as possible to get and maintain the body that I love living in right now. And I have to tell you, as a high performance coach, I've been a high performance coach longer than I've been in the current version of my body. And as a high performance coach, I still was able to help my clients a lot. But I have to tell you that when they see me now, whether it's virtually during a coaching session or in person, they trust that I know what I'm talking about a lot more. And why is that? Because at the end of the day, humans do have a mindset, especially guys. When we see another guy that has put in the effort and has put in the time to build a body that they feel good in and that is high energy and that looks good in the clothes that they're wearing and that they're confident, it all translates into, we like engaging with that person. We trust that they know what they're talking about because we can tell that they've put in work, that they have discipline, that they have put the pieces together, that in order to maintain that body, that there is a consistency that has to happen, a discipline that has to happen, a version of self-love that makes it so that they are prioritizing themselves in the right way in order to get the results that they're getting. All of these things are very evident and that we make a snap judgment about when we see someone for the first time. I have to say that as a high performance coach, people trust me a lot more from the get-go based off of the visual. That I'm living in a high performance body, so I must know what I'm talking about high performance wise. Now, I've seen my clients get this same effect when they get in shape, that when they optimize their hormones and they start going to the gym and eating differently, that 6 months later, a lot of them, it's a lot easier for them to convince people to go with their idea in the boardroom. It's a lot easier for them to be able to apply for that job that 6 other people in their department applied for, and they're on the short list a lot faster now. I'm not saying that it's fair. I'm saying that it's reality. As human beings, as animals, especially men dealing with other men, we tend to follow the more stereotypical male that is in shape, that walks with an air of confidence. A lot of times the confidence comes from the fact that you feel better in your body a lot of times. And that we want to move towards people that have a goal, that have achieved a goal that we would like to do as well. So what I have found is that there's the Pareto principle, which if you haven't heard of this, most of us have heard of it. You've heard of the 80-20 rule, right? So that's the Pareto principle. And a gentleman named Pareto, this term was because of the fact that he was getting different yield of results from the peas in his garden. I believe that's what it was. And that if he did 80%, got 80% of his yield from 20% of the high performers of these plants that he was growing. And so that if he concentrated on that 20%, he got 80% of his yield or his results. What was interesting was he found that you could apply that same theory to business, to finance, to all kinds of things. That if you concentrate on the 20% that gives you 80% of your results, that is a lot better place to spend your time, right? If 20% of your investments gave you 80% of your results, those are the ones that you'd put more money in, right? That part of the portfolio. Same thing with your body, with exercise and nutrition. So I'm going to show you the things that are helping me with my 80-20. That as a busy dad, an owner of multiple businesses, and someone that's running teams and trying to be the best version of themselves, that this is what keeps me on track and is easy for me. And I have to tell you, I know that we talk a lot about how horrible technology can be sometimes as far as our distraction and things like that, and that we're always available and the phones in our hands and all that stuff. But on the flip side of that, one of the amazing things that's happened is some of these apps that have just been complete game changers for me as far as tracking my nutrition and tracking my exercise. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. There's so many different directions I could go as far as talking about things that have helped me to be able to achieve the results physically that I have. And I'm just going to concentrate on the ones that keep me on track, that, like I said, the 20% that gives me the 80% of the results. I want to share those tools with you. And these are things that you literally can just go download. And whether you have an iPhone or you have an Android or whatever you have, they work across platforms. I made sure that the things I was going to talk about today would work for most of the people. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, I'm going to go over some pricing and things like that as well. Please take this with a grain of salt. Prices change all the time. So this is what it was at the time that I'm describing it to you. So as I've gone through my own transformation, I've noticed that Pareto principle really comes in handy. Now, the 80% that I have noticed for me, which is a lot of you already figured this out, but Aaron is a little slow in the uptake sometimes. I'm a high performance coach, but it doesn't mean I don't have my areas where I subscribe to outdated thinking. And I used to think that I could just out exercise my nutrition and that I could be an intuitive eater. And unfortunately, this former fat kid is really bad in intuitive eating. I intuitively feel like I should have the entire sleeve of Oreos. So that doesn't really work for me. So really being able to track my macros and my nutrition is really important for me. The thing that I used to hate, though, is that, man, I've worked with coaches even in the past. And I'm like, okay, write down everything that you put in your mouth for a week. And the first couple of days I would do it, and then I would be busy and I would not have that notebook with me, and I'd go, oh, I'll write it down later. And then I wouldn't write it down. And then I would forget some of the things that I ate during the day, and it would just bother me so much. And there's some people that still are really good at the pen and paper. I'm just not one of those people, because I'll set it down, I'll forget it, ADD, I'm not going to have it with me. But what do I always have with me? My phone, because it's got my calendar and my external brain on it and all of my appointments, and I've got it with me pretty much 24/7. We can talk about if that's healthy or not in another podcast. But that 80% is the macros and the nutrition. And I'll talk about the apps that go with that in a second. The other 20% is being consistent with exercise to progressive overload. Now, progressive overload could be a whole different episode that I could talk about. But basically what it means is you're pushing yourself continually for that extra rep, for that extra 2.5 pounds. You're making progress. You're pushing yourself and not plateauing over time. Progressive overload, if we're talking about muscles right now, if you want to get more into bodybuilding, we talk a lot about the effectiveness of progressive overload. You're constantly getting your muscles to the point of overload, almost to failure. And then that pushes you past your thresholds over and over again. So the muscle breaks down, and then with proper nutrition, it rebuilds, and then you can keep going, okay, along that curve. So 80% is the nutrition. So if you're only going to do one thing from this podcast today, download one of the nutrition apps that tracks things for you. It makes it so much easier. In fact, in the last 6 months, the two I'm going to talk about, I think both of them, definitely one of them, has added an AI feature to it that allows you to literally just say out loud what you just ate, and it logs it for you, the time that you had it, and all of the nutrition and the macros that go with it, which is just mind-blowing to me. It's like having your own computer assistant, which is fantastic. I absolutely love it. So 80% macros nutrition, 20% consistent exercise to progressive overload. Okay. So if you were going to choose one, where are you getting your 80%? Your nutrition. So if you're only going to concentrate on one thing, I know, guys, it's super sexy to go, I'm going to start going to the gym. It feels good to move your body. It feels good to do that stuff. But if you spend some time first laying the groundwork for dialing in for those first couple weeks, your nutrition, and tracking it and realizing where you are as far as calorie expenditure and what you actually need for your body type and all that kind of good stuff, which these apps do for you a lot of times, you're going to be off to a way better start, that 80%. Then you can add in the exercise and you're going to get such better results for less work a lot of times, which is awesome. So try to remember that 80-20 rule. That's what we're working for here. And really the concept of what can be measured can be managed. We have to measure this stuff. Like I said, I tried to be intuitive about my workouts. I tried to be intuitive about my nutrition, and I just wasn't getting the results that I wanted. High performers, I am you. I know that you want the best results, the most bang for your buck that you can get. And that means you need to measure it so you can manage it. These apps will help you with that. By the way, I'm not getting any kind of affiliate kickback or anything for the stuff I'm going to talk about. This is just the stuff that I've bought personally and I like. There you go. So I fought that forever. The whole intuitive thing. I don't lean on it anymore. It just leads to rack and ruin for me. So after using each of these apps, I'd say for probably 2 weeks, it's a little tedious at first, but after doing it for 2 weeks, and you can do something for 2 weeks, it becomes habit and becomes really easy. So the tracking of the 80%, let's talk about the nutrition. Aaron, tell us what the tools are. We've been waiting for 5 minutes. Okay, here's what they are. MyFitnessPal is the first one. I'm gonna give you two options in each of these categories. So MyFitnessPal, it is one of them, and the other one is Macro Factor. And they go back and forth as who prefers what. And here's the things that I've noticed are the biggest takeaways from them that sway people one way or the other. So MyFitnessPal is the one that I started with, and I really like that it has a freemium model. So freemium means like you can get the basic package. It has ads in it to support it. And then you can pay money for a year membership if you want the pro version. Okay? So that's how that works. So for MyFitnessPal, they have the freemium one. So you can start right away and start using it and tracking your stuff. The freemium version doesn't have something that I really like, which is the barcode scanner, so that you can actually scan the barcode on the milk or the cereal or whatever you're eating, and it will just know what that is and match it with a database and import all the macros for you. That can come in super handy, but it also has a way for you just to search for the different foods that you have in there. Works really well. So if you're going to start out and you don't have a lot of money, just do the MyFitnessPal route because it's free to start with. Won't have all of the features and stuff on it, but you can add those features if you want. And that's $80 a year. So it's $80 a year membership if you want their pro version that doesn't have ads. And it has extra sexy things you can do with it, with different charts and tracking things and all kinds of stuff like that. You can check it out. Okay. So MyFitnessPal is the first one. The other nutrition one that I would recommend that I've enjoyed using right now, this is the one I am currently using. I feel like MyFitnessPal was my undergrad, and then my graduate level, once I knew what I was doing and I knew there were certain functions and features that I really wanted specific to bodybuilding, is macro factor, MACRO factor, macro factor. So that one does not have a freemium model. It's like really great. A lot of people love it. And it's $72 a year or $6 a month. All right. So actually a little bit cheaper than MyFitnessPal. Has more features, has more ways you can slice and dice the data, has like an AI coach on it, so depending on what your goals are that help progress you towards it. Check that one out as well. So both of them should, once you get out of the freemium model, at least with MyFitnessPal, both have the scan the barcode function. Both are fast for inputting things and start to realize your patterns. And once you start typing something, they're like, oh, you usually type chicken thigh here. So we're just going to pull that up right here. This is the brand you usually get, which it starts to learn after a while what your meals usually are, which is a real time saver. And you can build your favorite custom meals on it. For instance, when I'm bulking, I have a specific protein shake I like to make with my preferred protein, a banana, some other stuff that I like to add into it as well. And I can just add that all in as a specific custom meal, and then I can just easily add it each time. Because a lot of times what you're going to notice is once you start down this path, you're going to come up, just to make your life easier, guys, you're going to come up with 5 to 10 meals that you eat in a rotation a lot over and over again. And if you think about it, a lot of us do that in normal life anyway. We have our go-tos that we like to make, lasagna night or Taco Tuesday or whatever it is. And this will just make it easier for you to be able to do that. Enter your custom stuff, have all your macros there, all your protein, your fat, your carbs. It logs it for you and you're off to the races. I have to tell you, this may seem a bit daunting at first. It is totally worth it. And within 2 weeks, it'll be second nature for you to open it up and enter it in. It takes all of 15 to 20 seconds whenever you're prepping a meal or while you're eating your meal. Just put it in, type it in while you're eating. Really fantastic. It has absolutely been the thing that has kept me on track, especially the last 2 years, to make the biggest gains of my life as far as muscle building and as far as getting to a body fat percentage that makes it really fun, to be perfectly honest, to take your shirt off at the beach. All right. And I want that for all of you as well. All of you guys that want that for yourselves, I want that for you too. All right. So that is what I would talk about as far as the 80% nutrition, MyFitnessPal, macro factor. Check them both out. Pick the one that's best for you. If you don't have a lot of money, do the freemium version with MyFitnessPal. Once you're dialed in and you want more functionality, maybe take a look at macro factor. All right. They're both great though, and will get you to where you want to go. Now, let's talk about the other 20%. Let's talk about exercise. All right. I have 2 apps here that I want to talk to you about. So these are going to skew towards what Aaron's favorite activity is, which is lifting heavy things repeatedly over and over again. So bodybuilding. All right. If you're more into CrossFit or something like that, these will still come in handy for you. If you're into classes, things like that, there are ways to use this as well to be able to track what you're doing. But I would say that it's mostly for the 2 I'm going to talk about are mostly for guys that are looking to put on a significant amount of muscle and really want to get specific about bodybuilding. All right. So these are the 2 that I would use, and that I have heard most of the bodybuilders that I talk to that are way more professional than I am, that go to my gym, for instance, and that are actually IFBB pros, International Federation of Bodybuilding Professionals. Those guys that you see on the stages and stuff. It's a completely different thing. I'm not that level. Like, I just enjoy getting to the point that I am now, but they even use these apps. So if the functionality is good enough for them, probably going to be good enough for you feeling good about your summer body. That's all I'm saying. So tracking that 20% exercise. The first one is called HEVY, HEVY, because we can't spell things normally. On an app, you always have to have a cool spelling, right? So HEVY, it has an exercise library that you can go through. It actually shows you the movement and how to do the movement properly, which I look at all the time when I was using HEVY, because sometimes I would be like, am I doing this quite right? Is my form quite right? And it was really helpful, especially when I was first learning some new variations of exercises, how to do them properly to make sure my form was good. It's like having your own virtual coach with you. It's always better to have a live coach with you, but if you don't have that, if you're traveling a lot, it really works well. It has an exercise library. One thing that I don't like about it, and this is a personal preference, I'm sure some people really dig it, is that it has a social profile component to it. So you have to create, it makes you create a profile, and it, like, you can have followers and you can be an influencer and all this stuff. And that's not my jam. If it's your jam, and perhaps you are someone that wants to do that, you're going to love that feature. Just not my thing. Now, they have the ability for you to create your own custom workouts with Heavy. They do have a freemium model. It allows you to make 4 unique workouts with it. And other than that, you can choose from some pre-built ones that are there. And that's a freemium model, has some ads on it. Or you can pay for their pro version, which is $23.99 a year at the time of this podcast, or $2.99 a month. So you can choose your adventure with that one. Maybe start with the freemium and then try that out later if you don't like the ads and you don't like the way that it works. All right. But when I was first starting out, I really appreciated that exercise library, especially, like I said, where it actually shows a short video of how to execute the exercise. That was super, super handy. The other one that I recommend is going to be FitNotes. This is the one that I'm using currently. I cannot believe how awesome it is and how cheap it is. I keep thinking it's a mistake, but it's really bare bones. Like, it's not sexy interface. It's basically a step above an Excel sheet, but done really well. Don't get me wrong. There's timers on it in between sets with all kinds of stuff that it does. And you can put in your custom workouts, and you can put in new exercises if you want with their pro version. It's really great. But I would say that FitNotes is the one that you graduate to after you've done something like Heavy, because you'll already know the exercises that you like specifically for your goals for your body. And then you can program those in. Maybe you're already at that level. I was not. So if you're already at that level, I would go FitNotes, because it is free for all of the features except the custom builds. So if you want to put in your own custom exercises with the ability to write notes about that specific workout, and if you had to make variations or things like that, and you like tracking data trends and seeing like why you lifted that amount on that day or whatever in your progression, then you probably want the pro version. But here's the thing. The pro version is for life. It's not a subscription model, which is awesome. So it's $2.99 to unlock the pro version for life. I'm serious. $2.99. That's it. Like I said, it's not as sexy as the first one, as Heavy. That one has an amazing UI, and it has that whole social feature. It's really sexy looking. But if you're looking for just get the job done with custom timers, like, it's not lacking in functionality at all. And you can customize it on the fly, all kinds of stuff like that. Keeps track of your sets, your weights, all that stuff. FitNotes. If you just want a distraction-free experience with the exercises that you can custom build in there. All right. So those are the two for that. So tracking for that 20%, which is the exercise, still important, but not as important as that 80% of nutrition. Remember, Heavy, HEVY, that's the one with the exercise library with the videos that show you how to do it. And then FitNotes, which is free for all the features except the custom build, but it's $2.99 for the pro version. It's a pretty great deal as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, what I'm using currently is I am using Macro Factor and I am using FitNotes. Those are the two that I'm using right now. But both of those, MyFitnessPal and Heavy, were both fantastic products. So either one, choose your own adventure, check them out, spend 5 minutes maybe deliberating on which ones you like to hit your goals, and then go from there. Now, the whole reason that I'm talking about all this is because when guys come and talk to me, we talk about the hormones and balancing things out and what can be done after they get their labs and their blood work done. And then they talk to one of our nurses, and we know what will be a good fit for them. But that conversation very quickly pivots to, okay, now what do you want to do with it? Once you're unlocked, once you have all of these new features, for lack of a better term, available to you in your body, in your endocrine system, what do you want to do? Do you want to start that business? Do you want to do some goal setting? Do you want to start exercising more, going to the gym, changing the way that you eat, because you're going to get way better results now because your metabolism for most guys changes very for the positive when they're on testosterone therapy. And then you're also able to build and retain muscle a lot faster. So it's fun because you see progress so much faster. And so it often pivots to that conversation right away, and guys get really excited. And so I thought, I'm having this conversation a lot. So why not start from just telling them what's working for me, since I have also been on that journey. And if a lot of guys are like me and they want to be able to do some bodybuilding at the amateur level, as far as just like feeling good about their body and being able to build the body that they've always wanted to have, and feel good about being the dad that gets to take off their shirt at the pool and feels good about it and is tossing the kids around and just having a great time. That's usually where the conversation goes. And I want you to be able to have some of these tools that I use as well that have really helped me to be able to track and to get to where I am currently, and are going to help me to get to the next version of myself as well. Because that's what it's all about, right? It's about evolving that story of the person that you are now, and then figuring out, okay, who's the next version of yourself that you want to meet? What do they do? What kind of things do they do in order to get those results? And inventing that for yourself as well. Your action item for this week: pick one from each category. If these goals align with what you want, whether you're doing testosterone optimization therapy, and you should totally talk with us if you want to do that. But even if you're not, if you want to start hitting some of your goals, maybe you just want to lose a couple pounds, maybe you just want to see if you can finally see that bicep vein. That was really fun when I finally saw one of those. Then pick one of those apps from each category, from nutrition and from exercise that I talked about earlier. Try it out for 2 weeks. I guarantee you're going to like the way that you feel, and you're going to love that you have a plan to stick with to get to where you want to go. All right, my friends, I will talk to you soon. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now. If you are a man interested in learning more about testosterone optimization and other cutting-edge wellness therapies coupled with high-performance coaching, you have to check out olympusmen.com. There you will find out more about how to work with us, as well as a free guide that will answer everything you always wanted to know about testosterone therapy and if it might be right for you. Head to olympusmen.com right now to learn more.
Thanks for listening to Storied Coaching with Aaron J. Jacobs. If you want more information or resources from the podcast, visit us at storiedcoaching.com.